Okay, we're going to talk about the spotted lanternfly. That's right, the spotted lanternfly. We're going to talk today, do a little training about an insect. And this insect is an invasive species. Now, I know you're a truck driver, you don't really want to deal with it, but just like if you were a boat owner in North Texas, we have to deal with something called the zebra mussel, and it's something we have to deal with. We have to wash and dry our boat every time we go from one lake to another. So in this case, we're dealing with another invasive species, yes, the spotted lanternfly. First discovered in Pennsylvania in 2014, it came from Asia, and we don't know how it got over here, but the full-grown spotted lanternfly is about an inch and a half long, about a half inch wide, about the size of a horsefly. Even though they have a lot more color to them, their inner wing is red. The outer wing is kind of gray and spotted. You might not see the inner wing unless they're startled. They don't bite people or animals, but they do take that long snout and they stick it inside trees or fruit and suck the juice out, along with a lot of water, and then for some reason or another, they spit a bunch of it out too. It's a real sugary, sticky substance that they call honeydew. Now this honeydew gets all over the ground, it's sticky, gets on other plants, and creates something called sooty mold. Sooty mold is something that damages other plants' life, damages crops, damages trees. Really just makes a big mess of everything. 70 different plants that the spotted lanternfly likes to chew on, including the fruit they make wine out of and hops they make beer out of. So when they discovered it was messing with the wine and the beer crop, really got people serious about wanting to do something to eradicate this insect. You're going to have a permit when you drive through these quarantine counties. There are 14 quarantine counties right now in eastern Pennsylvania. You're going to have a permit. You're also going to have something, and we'll supply you a sheet showing that you inspected your vehicle, inspected your cargo, and usually if you're going to load in a place in these counties, you can expect the shipper to give you something, especially if they're going to seal your trailer to show that they inspected the cargo. You're going to have to inspect your truck, look all over it, and make sure you're not taking a live lanternfly or the eggs with you from county to county. Now there's the 14 counties that are right now affected, and includes the cities of Harrisburg, Allentown, Lancaster, Philadelphia, Bethlehem, and Reading. These people who live in the area, they can't even move from place to place, in their own counties where they live without having an inspection showing that they inspected their vehicle. That's why, you can't hardly sell your house in these places right now, because nobody wants to move to a place that's infested with the spotted lanternfly. These things start out as little bugs about the size of a tick, black with white spots, then they get a little bigger, then they get red with black and white spots. The full-grown ones will have wings, and the wings are they're kind of plain, and then they have spots and a very unique color to them. The inner red wing of the spotted lanternfly it's kind of distinctive red, but you're not going to see it very often because the outer wing is usually covering the red unless they get startled. These insects are quite a hitchhiker. They can just kind of stick alongside your vehicle until you get up 20 miles, 30 miles an hour, something like that, or they're going to hide in the cracks or crevices. Certain restrictions on moving across from these counties to counties or in and out of the county. In fact, you're not allowed, if you were just driving through, if you pick up in one place and you're delivering outside the county, As long as you're not stopping for any more than just traffic signals and the fuel, the law says you don't have to have the permit or do the inspections. But if you're going to spend any time there in one of the counties, you're going to load there, you're going to unload there, or spend any time, maybe even the 10-hour break inside one of those counties, you have to have the permit and you have to have the inspection. Shows you inspected your vehicle. Now, as far as reporting a sighting, that's not really required unless you were to find a spotted lanternfly in a county that is not in the quarantine zone. Then they like to know where it was, get a photo of it, and let them know exactly where it was you found it. That way maybe they can try to stop the spread of it any further before it happens. The life cycle, you can see them as eggs, in the spring. That's the biggest thing you're going to have to worry about. Then they have the little one size of a tick. They get bigger, and then another one, and then they get the red. And then, as adults, they get the wings. Now, the adults are killed off by the cold weather, the freezing weather, so the adults are killed off. So January, February, pretty much all you have to do is look for the eggs. And if you find them, you scrape them off. Scrape the eggs off. It looks like mud. Just scrape it off, kind of step on it, destroy it. If you see the bugs, step on them, swat them. If you're in a heavily infested area, it says even take your pants leg and tuck them inside your socks. But I would recommend that after you leave the quarantine area, before you go into a truck stop, take your pants legs back out of your socks or people will look at you funny. Kill as many of these things as you can. Swat them, step on them, spray them with bug spray, whatever it takes. Just kill them all. And again, the eggs, just take something and crush them, break them up.
Hello everybody. When you first started driving a truck for a living, you knew you was going to have to do a lot of training. There's going to be learning to drive the truck itself. There's going to be weather, the mechanics, the transmission, tire repair, tire maintenance, all kinds of things. Probably never thought you was going to have to learn about a bug. That's right, a bug called a spotted lanternfly. But if you're going to be traveling up around Pennsylvania, eastern Pennsylvania right now mainly, there's about 14 counties where there is a quarantine. And if you're going to pick up and deliver or spend any time in one of those counties, you have to be trained and you have to have a permit to go through there. It's right, a permit. It sounds kind of silly about a bug, doesn't it? But anyway, you're going to go through the training about the spotted lanternfly. We're going to talk about where they are and how they their life cycles and everything and what they do. But right now, one of the things when you get there, you're going to have to fill out, if you're going through one of these counties and you're going to spend any time there, pick up or deliver, you're going to have to do an inspection. You're going to have to prove you had the permit, that you've gone through the training, and you're going to have to show that you've gone through an inspection. So basically, it's not that big of a deal. If you load or unload in one of these counties, then the people who load you are going to, especially if you're loading, they're going to have some sort of certificate showing that when they loaded it, they inspected it. Otherwise, you're going to have to do it yourself, and it's not a big deal. Just do it when you walk around inspection. I mean, these things can land on your truck and ride there for about 30 miles an hour. I mean, they're pretty good hitchhikers. They're only about an inch long, about a half inch wide, but they look kind of like a horsefly with a little more color to them. But they can just land right there, but they're pretty good about wanting to hide in little cracks. So when you inspect your truck, you're going to want to walk all around, and you're going to want to look in these little cracks like this. You're going to want to look there, around there. When you come around, look through here, just anywhere you think one could be hiding. Walk around to the back of your truck. Look up here, all these little spots. It doesn't take a lot of time to do it. Look at your wheel wells. Inspect all in there. Just look to see if you see a spotted lanternfly that just decided he wanted to go riding with you. Later on in the year, about December, they start laying eggs. November, December, they start laying eggs, and they look like little patches of mud. And then the grown lanternfly is going to die because they don't like the cold weather. But later on, about April, May, now you need to start making sure you're not carrying any of the eggs with you when you start traveling, so do an inspection for that. Same places, look all over. They lay eggs on hard surfaces. Look at the wheels, look at the trailer. Look up there on the trailer, walk around and make sure you don't have any of the eggs on there. If you do, just scrape them off. Do a little report, do the inspection that you, or the little report that you did the inspection, sign it, carry it with you, and by the way, we have to keep that report for 2 years. So let's not make the big deal about the spotted lanternfly to where it's too overwhelming for you. We'll just learn it, carry the permit, do your inspection, sign it off, you're good to go.
Before you move any equipment out of a quarantine area, if it's been parked, once again, take a look. Look in the wheel wells. Look on your trailer. Look in the cracks and crevices. Make sure your windows are rolled up. Make sure when you're looking for the eggs, know what you're looking for. These look like some mud. They lay their eggs in about inch-long patterns, but they lay a whole bunch of them. They'll lay them side by side. People who live in these areas, they have to look for the eggs, and some are in the top of the trees. I mean, the people who live there have quite a chore trying to do what they can to eradicate the insect, to stop the spread. Fortunately, all we have to do is make sure when we haul something in and out of the county or stop there, all we have to do is make sure we're not taking a bug with us or taking the eggs with us. By the way, it's not just Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania is the only one that has a permit and a formal program. But if you get into New York State, well, they're looking for them too. And don't be surprised if you're stopped and they try to do an inspection on your vehicle to make sure you're not taking the spotted lanternfly or its eggs into their state. And if you were to have the permit and if you were to show you did your inspection before you left the county, I'll guarantee you're going to be way ahead of the game as far as the New York State agriculture people are concerned. They lay 30 to 50 eggs per mass, and they lay a whole bunch of those eggs, large masses of eggs. Originally they're shiny gray and putty-like, and then they dry, and they get cracks. Just know what you're looking for. Before you leave, scrape the egg mass off. Hey, and if in doubt, if it's just mud, well, scrape the mud off. It's not going to hurt anything.